So in this week's video, I'm going to show you how I made a new router fence for my router table. For those that don't watch the channel every week, I basically moved my Norm Abram style router table. I cut it down so it fit in the wing of my table saw. That means the fence I had for it, which really needed to be replaced anyway, was now too big. So I decided to scrap the entire thing, make some changes where I deemed fit, and that's basically what this video is. Last week I also added a router lift to that table, so as of right now it's really undergone some pretty big improvements. So the basic concept of this router fence is pretty simple. It could be as basic as two boards glued perpendicular to each other to form a right angle. That stock can run past the blade safely. I'm going to add a little more bells and whistle to this, but the basic design is going to start with a flat piece of stock that's going to sit on the table, and then I've decided to double up my front fence with two pieces of plywood. I'm making all of this out of 3/4 inch birch veneer ply. This is a cabinet grade ply. I use this a lot in my work, so I always have a bunch of scraps laying around the shop. And for this build, I decided to join this piece in the front with a rabbet. It just gives you a little bit more surface area for the glue, and anytime you could add surface area for your gluing surface, it'll make it a little bit stronger. So that was all I did. I put a shallow rabbet in the front. You can see how those two pieces are going to fit in there. And then I don't glue this up till a little bit later. The process of steps was that in which there was a lot of drilling and other things to do, so I kept the pieces separate until I could glue them together. So I'm basically just cutting out a little notch for dust collection. I already had a piece for dust collection, so I put it on the back there, kind of measured where it was going to fit, and then cut that out. So pretty simple stuff. That's how that's going to set on the back there. And then I could go around and mark for the T-bolts. So for the old fence, it went through slots in the table saw, the router table top, which I didn't like, especially since this is next to the table saw. I am most likely going to be taking it off quite a bit when I have to cut larger pieces of plywood. So I wanted it to be easy to take on and off. So that's why I added those top side T-tracks, and then this will sit right in that top side track so that I could pop it on and off pretty quickly. So you can see I just marked for those bolts. I drilled a 5/16 inch hole in the drill press. You really want this stuff to be as square as possible so it's the most accurate. It slid back and forth nicely at this point, so I moved on to the next step, which is going to be cutting some angled brackets for the back, just so that over time, and especially during glue up, my two surfaces stay at 90 degrees as much as possible. If this fence is off 90, everything you send through it is going to be a little bit tweaked in the wrong way. My other fence was starting to get out of square because it was MDF, and it was at this point about 10 years old. So whenever I routed something on there, I always had to make some adjustments and add some shims in order to get it back to square. So at this point I could glue together those two fronts. I did this pretty easily with just some Titebond 3. I let it set up overnight. I glued it together as square as possible, and then I removed the bulk of that squeeze out on the top. Once that was done, I sent it through my table saw just to square up the top and the bottom, remove the rest of that glue, and make sure everything at this point was extremely flat. So that is basically what that looks like. You can see I have the square set in place. And then at this point I could start thinking about how I want to do the slidable front fences. So I have a ton of these T-bolts from old projects, ordering the wrong things, and I just went through and picked out 4 that were a little bit thinner so I didn't have to worry about them getting in the way. And the big thing with stuff like this, especially if you're using T-bolts, and hand screws like this are clearances. So I made sure I saw where those would hit the dust collection, and the star knob I already had in place before drilling these holes. I tried to keep these centered as much as possible on the fence. If they're too close to the top or they're too close to the bottom, when you go to tighten for those movable fences, they could splay out at the bottom or the top. So keeping them center is pretty important. Once again, 5/16" bolts drilled in the drill press. So this is for the sliding fronts. Now I've seen some fences where they have hardware going through the front of the fence into the back, and you have to use either a nut driver or something to adjust them. When there's ever an option to use toolless adjustments, I always choose that, which is why I'm keeping with the style of the fence I had before and making these slide on T-tracks, and that is because I lose stuff like that very easily. So instead of trying to find the special driver to make adjustments, I could just unscrew the knobs. It's a personal preference. The other style works just as well, just as good. So as you saw, once I had those drills measured, I could cut dados for my T-track. This T-track is not all the same. The track I'm using for this is stuff I ordered years ago, and it's a little bit thicker and not as wide as 3/4. You could see there was a little bit of play there, which is fine. Once it's all screwed in place, it won't matter. So I cut a 3/4" dado for this track, and then I could just slide it in place. So that is basically how that is going to attach with those T-tracks. And you can see the knobs in the back will tighten and loosen this, and you can make it slide. Like I said, there's different ways to do this, but I preferred toolless adjustments. So then for the front of this, what I decided to do was make some cutouts, and that is because I'm going to put some inserts in the front. There's 2 projects coming up where I use router bits, where the cut I feel safer if it's buried in the fence. My old fence, I actually ruined one of my sliding fences by putting the fence in there because it just felt safer. So on this one I decided to, and this will be finished a little bit later in the video, leave a notch there for removable inserts. They could be replaced once they're damaged. And then on bits like the lock miter bit, where I just prefer it to be completely covered so that the pieces slide over a little bit nicer, I'll have that option. So at this point, after all those cuts were made, I could glue this together. You could see I'm checking for square. I put a couple screws in the bottom. I countersunk them so they don't slide on the top of this router table. You want any sort of hardware countersunk because they will dig into your tabletop. And then I just went through and put some glue and some brads on my angled pieces and let this whole thing set up. Like I said, I have all my knobs in place, so I know that my clearances will be there, and I could tighten and loosen things without an issue. So that is important to keep track on that the whole way. The base of this fence is only about 6 inches. I showed the dimensions a little bit earlier, and the top of this is over 4. It's not super tall. So once that was done, I could put some laminate on the front side of these sliding fences. I don't love laminate, but for stuff like this, it really serves a great purpose, and that is reducing friction so that all of this stuff will slide a lot easier. Obviously, this is winter time at this point, so this contact cement smells awful. I do not recommend using this in a closed space. I was nervous about this setting up because it's about 30 degrees outside. So what I decided to do was I cracked the garage door a little bit so all the fumes got sucked out the bottom of the door without completely ruining the temperature in my shop. And then I let it set up like that. I honestly was not expecting this to work. I was pleasantly surprised when it did dry and everything stuck as it should. So the laminate's pretty simple. It's contact cement. I like to put 2 coats on there until you see a little bit of a gloss on your surfaces, and then you can just connect your pieces. I cut the laminate oversized so I don't have to worry about lining things up perfectly, and then I just use a trim bit to go through and trim all this. Now this laminate is left over from a project I did about 2 months ago at this point. So obviously that was what I chose to use, so I didn't have to buy any. I had this in the shop. and then that is what those fences are going to look like. So then, like I said, I wanted some removable inserts in the front of this so I could have the inserts for particular bits. I could change them out if need be. So in order to do that, I need to make a recessed front here. Now I'm going to make these inserts out of 1/4 inch ply because that is stuff I always have laying around the shop, and the depth will be consistent. This stuff cannot create a lip either too high or too low on the front of this. You really want it perfectly flush with your fences, otherwise sliding stuff through will get caught on that lip. So you can see I had to put a dummy piece of wood in this because of the dado cutout. I didn't want the bearing to get caught in that dado and mar the surface. So that's why you see that piece of maple stuck in the dado there. Yeah, I often forget to do stuff like that, and the bearing bit will travel on me, but this time luckily I did remember. That is that 1/4 inch ply in place. I just took out my disc sander, created a radius on the edge there, and then those set right into place. The nice thing about making these is once you have these made, I could easily duplicate them for different bits or replacement pieces because I just have to trace the ones that are on there. I countersunk some holes, attached these to the plywood, and then I could start putting this together. So for the fences, I just put a couple dollops of super glue on there. Once the super glue set, I could go through and add the screws. These are tiny little 1/2 inch screws, but they'll hold all of this. And since this is plywood, my other problem with the fence was everything was MDF, which is really nice and flat, but plywood, in my opinion, holds hardware a little bit better than MDF. Towards the end of its life, I had some problems with screws being pulled out of those fences. And once again, just checking to make sure everything's square. I decided to add some topside track on this, which allowed me to make this fence smaller than the one I had. But I had to put a shim on there because my fences stick out further than the thickness of the track. So this was just a little piece of poplar I had laying around. I could cut it for the shim and then put this piece on top. This blue T-track was the only thing I bought for this project, and it came in 24-inch sizes, and this is 26-inch wide. If something like that bothers you, you can buy the right size, but getting longer sizes and cutting them down was going to double the price. So I decided to just cut these, order these and make them a little bit short. I also put this T-track on the top here. I've seen it on a couple other fences and it seemed like a clever idea for whatever might happen down the road. I said this when I built and moved the router table. With router fences and jigs, the more places where you could put feather boards and have attachments, the better. So that's why I put that up there. And then the last thing I decided to do for this was add a micro adjustment. I wanted to make this as simple as possible with also not buying supplies. I had this star knob that had a bolt in it that's actually from the movable mobile base that my table saw is on. I took them off because the base is kind of broken at this point. And it was pretty simple. I just used some scrap wood. I have 1/2 inch ply going through 3/4 inch ply. I made a dado joint for the same reasons I did with the fence. I just find them more structural than just regular buck joints. And then I drilled through for my marked holes. Now on this top side here, I'm just making a shallow cut with a spade bit. I'm going to sink a nut in there, and then that nut will be glued in place and it will hold in place just based on the fact that the bolt will be coming through the other side. I drilled this on the wrong side the first time around. I didn't film fixing it, but you might notice that that hole has flip sides. Once again, make sure everything is square and I could tack it in place. Now, like I keep saying, I had all this stuff in the shop. The only thing I bought for this was that blue T-track. I think it was like 24 bucks. In all honesty, if you don't have all of these materials, it might be worth it to just buy one. With the cost of materials and plywood this day and age, the materials for this would probably be more expensive than just buying one of the tracks, the fences in the $150 range, to be perfectly honest. I didn't price this stuff out, but if I had to guess, all the star knobs, the T-bolts, all the T-track, even going out and buying plywood, it really adds up for stuff like this. So that is something to consider too. The nice thing about I've been doing stuff with the router table long enough. I kind of knew the improvements I wanted to make. I knew what would work for my shop. When I first made my fence, it took me a very long time and I worked off plans. This one I just kind of built in a couple afternoons after doing stuff in the shop for customers. And then I've been using this for quite a while now. I think I built this over a month ago. I've been using it quite a bit now because I've been making French doors, which is a lot of router work. So if you watch the channel, you'll see it in upcoming videos. But if you also watch the channel, you'll remember I made a towel rack out of maple. Well, I am remaking it out of walnut because whenever you make something out of maple and stain it to look like walnut, the customer doesn't like it.